Yeah, what up, y'all? Freaky P live right here, Replicon Radio. We have a very special guest on the line, all the way from motherfucking Australia. Let me get this loaded up here. So, all the way from Australia, live on the motherfucking air with us, we have Zheani. How you doing tonight?
Yo, I'm alright.
Or this, I guess nice. It's this morning, right? It's 10 o'clock in the morning over there.
Yeah, sipping on some coffee.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you taking the time out of your morning in the future there to hang out with us.
Oh, don't make a big deal. It's okay.
Well, we definitely appreciate it. So, yeah, anyway, welcome to Replicon Radio. Definitely want to get into this.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Hold on, I'm just trying to get all my stuff here. So generally what we like to do on the show, first time we have a guest on, is we like to go back in time, like how did you get started? Like, we know you as a musician now, but I guess you ended up getting started as modeling or something like how did it all get started for you, to get you to where you are today?
Yeah, life's pretty weird, huh? So I guess for the record, you haven't G'd me up on any of these questions that you're about to ask. We haven't had any prior conversation.
No.
So, freestyle. Basically, yeah, I come from Gummo style Australia, from the country. And when I was 20 years old, just trying to navigate my way in life, I kind of got chewed up into a bunch of crazy shit. Got shipped over to New York and did a shoot with some famous model, and I guess from there my social media game changed, and I don't know, I've had an interesting adventure, but modeling wasn't what I wanted to do. I never tried to be a model. I would have never considered myself model material, and I just kind of got chewed up along that ride and was a bit spun out afterwards, maybe when I was about 23. And decided that I was going to live a path that I actually consciously decided for myself. And that's when I started making music and art as a whole.
Awesome. Well, first of all, congratulations on that, to finding that rite of passage in your life at such an early age, and getting out of a situation you didn't want to be in.
Yeah, true.
But so you were just were you making music at the time? I guess I've seen the story online. I don't really know how it all went. You ended up, I guess, Cara Delevingne or whatever saw a photo of you and ended up kind of bringing you in for a DKNY shoot, which I guess.
Yeah. I guess she shipped in the freak. It was an interesting shoot. She had one of every kind on her little group of people for that shoot, and I was just the weird looking goth kid.
Nothing wrong with that. It's interesting to think about now, because she to think of her pulling you in just from based on the way you look, and now she is known to be really good friends with the band dieantwoord, which I've seen your look compared to Yolandi.
That's debate. Yeah.
Well, I'm not saying. I'm just saying. I've seen people say.
I wouldn't say she's really good friends with them. No, I really like Cara. I think that she's a fucking legend. We're still in contact to this day,
awesome.
And she's just great energy. I've met many, I guess, high-profile celebrities in the last few years, and it takes all types. And she's one of these rare ones that is actually truly as friendly and wholesome and bright as she appears in her media coverage. And I could say that is not the same for a lot of other people.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure, especially when you get into that world.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. That's good to hear, and it's definitely good to have friends over there. What was that?
Did I stutter?
Oh, well, I know it cut out for a second. But no, I'm not. I mean, that's just something, they're... I don't think you're compared to them. It's just, I guess people have seen pictures. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm definitely compared to them. It's a real shame.
That's America for you.
Yeah.
I'm sure you get a lot of strange things and comparisons from America.
The main that I cop at the moment, which I think is quite funny. I get it. I get called vagina ghost main a lot in the YouTube comment section. But that's
That's awesome. Oh yeah, speaking, I probably should have told you. You're more than welcome to curse. I know, but yeah, that's hilarious. Vagina ghost.
No, that's legit the actual phrasing.
I believe it.
Like, cunt ghost man, like vagina ghost man.
You might as well. I mean, you could just put out a whole moniker and just sell some records like that if you wanted to. I'm sure.
I'm probably not aiming for that, but yeah, like basically, people use comparisons to set shit a certain way in their head. You know, it's just how humans are. It's totally fine.
Yeah, absolutely. So you linked up with her. You like you said, you traveled all over the place doing this modeling thing, and obviously you realized that's not where you wanted to be. Like, how was it? Did you just go back home to Australia and say, "Fuck it, I'm gonna start making music"? Like, it's got to be a hard life to quit.
Look, it just wasn't that healthy or productive, and you only have like one chance in life to make a real strong attempt at something and really put your all, because you don't want to be like past your expiry date and then being like, oh, I could have done this, I should have done this, I wanted to do this, and just like with that knowledge that you haven't put 100% of your time, energy, and effort into at least trying to succeed at something. Like, no one wants to feel that way in like their senior years. So I decided that I was actually going to apply myself. At least if I fail, then I know that I tried my hardest and I can be chill.
Absolutely. Yeah, and you were doing something that you're actually passionate about, so that's fucking awesome.
Yeah. I often got told to turn it down when I'd be like behind the camera doing modeling, and I don't get told to turn it down when I'm making my music and recording.
That's right. You gotta turn it up now.
That's it.
Hell yeah.
So I have a new project dropping March 8th.
Yeah, you got a new mixtape coming out March 8th, right?
That's it.
Is that titled yet, or?
Say that again?
I said, do you have a title for that?
It's called The Line.
The Line?
Mm-hmm.
And is there
I guess that's like based off a Nietzsche quote, the line between good and evil, Solzhenitsyn. The line between good and evil runs directly down a man. I don't know, like, are people good, are they evil? I think that we're both.
I would definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
For anybody interested in check, I know you have a lot of music on Spotify and SoundCloud. Is there like an actual home for to go, like, pick up if you have any physicals, or is it all just digital? Or
yeah, we have a brand called Symbols for 8. It's like hand painted, custom designed one-off clothing. So on Big Cartel, if you just type in symbols.bigcartel.com, that will come up. And I have tape cassettes for sale of my 8 mixtape that I released last year, which was my first ever project. And The Line will be a follow-up from that. And my God, I have improved a lot. I'm really excited to drop this shit.
People are excited to hear it. I'm excited to hear it. That will be available at symbols.bigcartel.com. I know for a while you had the cassettes up on the Sleep Cult website, but you have them on yours now.
They hooked me up, and Sleep Cult will do a press of The Line as well. So I don't know. I think cassettes are real cool. So
yeah, for sure. No, it's definitely. Is that going to be the only physical copies of that? I know physical's kind of dying, so it's got collector's item type stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah, totally. It's more like a little like memento than anything. I'll probably make some kind of shirt this year. I've never done that before, like made any kind of merch for me. So that will be different. I guess Symbols in itself is my merch and it pops off, but it's cool because it's a lot more relatable than just wanting to wear some artist's fucking name on their shirt. It's more of like a movement and an idea. It's an inner circle.
Absolutely. And you recently, I guess it's probably still available, you had the Red Magic collection over there?
That's it. Yeah. It was nice. So,
and are those, they're all like handmade by you, correct? That's
it. Hand painted, screen printed, My boy Mick Sheeter is a wonderful Australian artist, and he gets in and helps me with the font designs, and we collaborate. I guess he brings the art history and I bring the occultism, and that's what Symbols for 8 is. It is a merge of art and occultism.
Awesome. Yeah, that was another thing I was going to kind of ask you about. I know there's been I've seen some stuff on like online. A lot of people were talking about you and your involvement with the occult, and like what is all that? Like, what does that mean to you? Like, obviously your new record's called The Line. It's between good and evil, but a lot of people just recognize the occult as something that, you know, may be evil. For people that aren't educated, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I don't know where you been reading this shit, man. I want to know.
I did an extensive search. I was trying to find information about you. Yeah.
Okay. God damn.
That's part of my job.
I should do that. What'd you do? Like Google? Okay. Anyway.
Yeah, good old fashioned Google.
This is what I think. People want to be spiritual, or they want to like research this shit, but what they're often quite hesitant to do is understand that it takes both sides of the spectrum to really go into it with like a stronghold. It's that left-hand path that people always shy away from, which is the darkness, which is there is good and evil in everyone, and you have to understand that if you only try to work in the light, it'll often fuck you up just as much as if you're only trying to work in the dark. I think that a lot of preconceived notions of what evil is or what like darkness is comes from our own Western religions, and people hold those reservations. But ever since I, in the last couple of years, changed what I was willing to ingest and willing to work with to something that was more all-encompassing and including the shadow, my shadow, and allowing my shadow to work, it's gotten a lot stronger and a lot more effective. Sorry to speak in riddles. It's the only way I know.
That's all right. That's all right. But I mean, yeah. I mean, essentially, like the people that may or may not know or be afraid of something like that. It's not an evil thing. It's more or less understanding both sides of the line, knowing that inside you.
Yeah. It's like what we all have inside ourselves is a shadow, and we all suppress it generally as a rule. Often what happens is your shadow comes out to fuck with you when your conscious self drops into a sleeping state, such as becoming inebriated on drugs or alcohol. And that shadow, if it's very much put down into a deep dark box, it will come out and fuck you up and make you look like a fool because it wants to come out and have some fun as well. And I guess what I'm practicing is allowing my shadow to be one with my conscious self. It's like bringing that subconscious to my fore and embracing it and letting it help me.
Awesome. Absolutely. And then, I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be acting like like you're drunk or on drugs or something constantly. It's just, it's going to be like essentially like the lighter version of how someone may act when they're inebriated. Just, you know what I mean? Being more like open. Like,
I would have to disagree. What I was saying regarding drugs and alcohol is that often a person's shadow comes out and fucks with their reality when they're in that state of inebriation, because that is the moment in which your conscious self is dormant and unable to keep it suppressed. And what I'm saying is I am working with ways to, I guess, nurture and satisfy my shadow so it will come out in constructive, artistic, creative ways and actually contribute to my life and my creative practices. Yeah. Nothing to do with being drunk.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm like. Essentially, like how would you say it? Like the worst side of yourself. Like sometimes that comes out when you're in that state of mind or other state. Like I think that was
totally
like your worst. The worst. So essentially, instead of allowing the worst side of you to show up when you don't want it to, or let it control you when you're not in control, you open up to it and understand it's there and try to nurture it so the worst side of you isn't actually all that bad.
Absolutely. Suppressing the line between good and evil, suppressing the dark side of yourself, it's always going to come out and manifest in strange, fucked up ways. And I think a lot of people have experienced that in one way or another in life, because we want to put our best face forward all the time, don't we?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. That's one of the biggest downfalls, I guess, of humanity is that type of shit. But so, I mean, if for someone that may be, interested in that or wants to learn more about it, what would you suggest them to do, or how would they seek out information on something like that? Especially if they're like afraid or concerned about, saying they have bad thoughts about occultism or something like that. Like how did you get involved in such a thing? I mean, you're 25 years old right now?
Yeah, that's right.
So I mean, you're pretty open-minded and have journeyed the world a lot for such a young woman. So I mean, how did you get into that? How is that something somebody may want to learn about or something?
So basically, I guess have a interesting upbringing. My dad was very spiritual and was deep into tarot and numerology. He was a part of, I guess, it's called this man is called Avatar Meher Baba. He is a Indian guru from the practicing throughout like the 50s forward to, I think he passed away in the late 80s. And I guess it's kind of a bit of a cult that was in Australia. He had like an abode here and he had a following, and my dad was a part of that. So I've been open to strange practices and concepts from a really young age. And as an adult, I was pulled into some shit that I wasn't really prepared to be pulled into, but I had to wise up pretty quick. And I went back to studying my own path. My dad passed away when I was like 14, so these things I can't really talk to him about. So I guess by studying occultism, learning about the things that he was so very passionate about, it makes me feel closer to him. But regarding what you're saying, like where do people start? What do they do? The word occult, it is knowledge of the hidden. That's literally what the breakdown of the word occult means in Latin. So it can mean anything. I think that it has all these very like paranormal kind of annotations to it, but what I'm saying is it could be anything that is hidden knowledge that is not the most common thing put forward. I would say the best place to start with this is philosophy. Mm-hmm. Learn where the common held thoughts of our society come from. By starting there, you're going to be able to have a bigger grasp on where the more modern Western ideas of magic have actually come from, because the people that have created these concepts, the people that have created these sects and ways of practice, they haven't really, they're not the originators of these thoughts. These thoughts have been held and discussed for a long time. What they've been able to do is apply it to some kind of practice in an energetic sense. So learn about philosophy. Really, absolutely. Like go back further than the practice itself.
Absolutely, yeah, for sure. Because a lot of things, I don't know how. I don't know much about Australia, honestly, but I know, like, in the United States, there's if you try to like get into something like
that's such an American thing to say, dude.
That I don't know. Well, I'm totally American. But like if you try to like search stuff like that, you're gonna end up with like crazy government conspiracies. You're gonna get into like YouTube videos or Googles about the Illuminati and the government here in America and reptilians and like that. You know what I mean? But
yeah, you're the one that called it Replicon radio.
I know and it has nothing to do with reptilians, but
yeah,
there's nothing to do with it. But I mean,
thanks for saying that to me.
Huh?
That's where my mind went.
Is it? A lot of people don't even know what that is, but
what I would say to everyone is absorb all the information, listen really carefully to everything, but be 100% skeptical and don't believe anything. Like, that's all you can do is be open, but be skeptical. That's what that would be my advice.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's just, I guess it's just a hard thing to find truth in, especially when the actual definition is the knowledge of the hidden. So
what's happened is I have ingested all of this information about history, philosophical concepts, art, certain magical practices, and there's so much information out there that I've only just scraped the surface, just like a lot of other people in my situation have. But what happens is slowly your brain starts to form links and understand like where certain thoughts are lining up with certain practices and where these ideas have come from, and then it just starts to make sense, and that's when you can form your own form of like practice. Like, it's a bit of a mindfuck, right? But it's very interesting, and I like that there's no real limit to what can be understood. Absolutely. I would love to, like, just the idea of being able to be 40 years old and the concept that I hold now as a 25-year-old girl, like, it won't fucking hold a candle to what I will be able to comprehend in my older years.
Absolutely.
And that's cool for me. I fuck with that.
Yeah, there's a shit ton of knowledge out there. So I guess, yeah, the more you know, the more you know, and the more it connects. And you'll read something 10 years from now, you'll be like, oh shit, that makes all that other shit makes sense.
All these books, exactly, all these documents, all of the knowledge of our history, it's like looking for artifacts, you know? It's like there's no limit to what you can actually discover and digest. And I don't know, I just like am addicted to it. And it really is just creatively inspiring, and it's great fuel for making art. And yeah.
So
it's, yeah.
I was gonna say, so, you know, with art and everything, obviously you do the music. You got the new mixtape coming out March 8th, The Line. And you do the t-shirts and clothing at Symbols for 8. Is there any other? I know a lot of people notice your tattoos and your forehead tattoo. Is that a direct like inspiration from you, or these? Or, obviously, I'm sure they have meaning. Is it all kind of flowing together in who you are? Is that something you draw, or are they symbols?
It's always, yeah, totally. I don't know, you said a lot there, but my forehead tattoo, that's a sigil. That was a really specific intention that I created with a girl called Grace Neutral, who's an awesome stick poke artist from London. And the whole point of a sigil is to forget whatever the fuck that thing meant and just let it do its work. And I think it's doing that, which is great. But look, the whole point of symbols is to connect with people. And when I say symbols, I'm actually referring to my brand or little inner circle that I'm creating. I'm also currently experimenting with creating a platform where I practice my form of ritual and record it in an artistic manner and then post it on Snapchat. And I am developing this really cool inner circle, I'll use that word again, of people who are very interested and have a lot of questions. And I guess I don't know of any practicing occultists that are doing anything like this at the moment and utilizing the internet and that live instant connection in the same way that I am. And I would be very interested to talk with anyone that is. Projects wise, apart from this red magic Snapchat that I've created, I'll be doing a really cool reading of a book that I found quite influential called Libernal and Psychonaut. And I've been given permission by the author and creator of that concept of chaos magic to do a reading on YouTube, which I think is really wonderful. And I'm always interested in connecting with other people that are interested in these topics and in these practices.
So, I guess I don't want to sound too much like an idiot, but
it's cool, dude.
Are you considered? I mean, do you consider yourself like a witch? Is that
That's one word for
Is that a
it.
proper
Yeah,
term?
sure.
So would that idea of the online group, would that be like essentially like an online coven, or is that?
I wouldn't say so.
Like I said, I don't. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to think.
I guess what I get a lot is people trying to apply what they previously know about the occult, or females that practice certain things, or groups and covens. They try and apply these words and concepts to what I'm trying to do. And what I'm specifically trying to do is not be influenced by anything that has existed prior. Absolutely. Okay, I'll explain it scientifically. I think that might make more sense. I don't want to sound like this fucking whack job that's just like off with the fairy. Scientifically, I would call it results magic. Think of it like engineering. In engineering, you come up with a thing that you want to do. Then you come up with a way to do it. Then you do it and you see if it works. You observe the situation, you take note of what happened, and then you make adjustments and you go from there. It's also a form of self-hypnosis. That, I think, is a great simplification of what magic is. You have an intention, you have something that you want, you create a sense of exaltation, like a hyper sense, be it like with breathing, movement, dance, sound. You exert yourself, sex even. Probably the most easiest way would be sex. And then at that certain point, you are releasing your intention deep into your subconscious self. It's planted there at that point of openness, and it's nested. Be it like, I want to be more focused in my life. I want to there's many different things that people want to achieve, but what you're doing is you're lodging that intention and what you want to achieve deep into your subconscious, and that is what hypnosis is, and it's a form of self-hypnosis.
That sounds incredible. It sounds like something a lot of people may need.
I think that practice magic accidentally. I think a lot of people self-hypnotize themselves accidentally, for good or for bad.
For sure.
So to be conscious that this is something that humans do to their brains, I think there's a science to magic, and we just haven't been able to really like work it out. But there's a lot of people now at this point in time and in the past that have been working towards breaking down and divulging what the science behind it is.
It's I don't know if are you familiar with that? It's similar to the documentary The Secret. Or the book and documentary? Have you heard of that?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
I guess it's a similar concept. Essentially, it's just putting it out into the world. But I guess
that was marketing genius, right? The Secret was a great way to sell what I'm trying to say to a mass audience.
Absolutely.
It was
without making it scary. Yeah.
Totally. And that's the thing that I don't know, like there's such this need almost to make everything not scary and not dark, but I think it's really important to realize that what you're playing with when it comes to self-hypnosis, for instance, it can be dark and scary, and you don't want to fuck it up, and people should be aware of that.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, that's definitely true. But yeah, it's like I said, the similar with the. I mean, it's like an I don't know. I don't want to sound petty, but it's like an extreme form of self-motivation. Like you're planting your own seed in your own mind and making it. It's like when people say people, like we interview a lot of artists and things on the show, and 9 out of 10 of them are going to tell you the same thing. Like there was no plan B. And it's almost like this similar concept of this is what has to be done. There is no
it's a mantra that you repeat to yourself. Absolutely. Yeah. I absolutely agree with that. Like you said, extreme. It's a form. The word extreme, I think, is hitting the nail on the head. I think that this form of self-hypnosis in magic, it's almost like trauma. People go through a traumatic situation, and that stays with them for the rest of their life, and it fucks with them in strange ways.
For sure. Well, hopefully that's something, you can.
But to do this and traumatize yourself with purpose and like with an actual clear intention that you have sat down and worked with and gotten right, then rather than it being a negative effect that it has on your life down the line, be it a strange and unusual fear of driving, for instance, after a horrible car crash, then it could be something that's really productive and helpful with your life.
Absolutely. That's awesome. And that's an awesome thing, and I'm sure a lot of people would be interested in learning about it and hearing more about it. And you said that's something you may start essentially talking about on your YouTube channel or on your Instagram.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe in interviews like this. I've been pretty specific and intentional when it comes to like not talking about this stuff.
Okay.
Over the last 5 years, I've had a lot of interest in it. Back when I had like a blog and a lot of people asking questions, it's been something that has interested my following in a really long time, but I have, I guess, avoided making any solid statements on it because I just thought that I was still learning and working it out. And I think that at this point in my life, I kind of have a grasp and a foundation, and I can clearly see the direction I'm going in. And back when I was a bit younger, I thought it was kind of pointless to talk about this stuff when I myself didn't have a purpose or direction that I could see fully formed yet.
Uh-huh. Well, yeah, no, I mean, it definitely seems like, I mean, like you said, there's endless amount of knowledge out there, but you seem to have a way better grasp than the average person may, so.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's people that know how to code. I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, everyone picks what they want to pursue.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, if people are interested, I mean, obviously they can search you out on Instagram and YouTube, and maybe you'll speak on speak on things like that. And obviously, you can always support her. Go to Symbols for 8, which is also on Instagram as well, or you can go to the big symbols at symbols.bigcartel.com. Get you some dope handmade merchandise, the Red Magic collection, and look for that new mixtape that comes out March 8th as well.
I took the Red Magic collection offline to focus on the mixtape, but we'll drop some shit in the next couple of months for sure. I'm going to be in Hong Kong after this tape drops for Art Basel, making some boss moves over there, and then we'll see. I think I'll be in the States later on this year.
Awesome. That's what I was going to ask you. Obviously, you came over here during the modeling phase. You were actually filming movies and stuff at one point, weren't you? Is that something?
Yeah, we were in the pre-production to do a film. How cool did that look, huh? Pretty sad it didn't happen.
Right. Is that something you would ever still want to be a part of if it came back around?
Yeah, totally, but it wouldn't be the same project, which is a shame. That was an amazing lineup of people that were going to make the family for the Dream of the Get Dest, and I don't know, dude. We'll see. My character was an 18-year-old girl. I can't play an 18-year-old girl now.
Well, yeah, you might be able to get away with it.
I don't know. That's real sweet of you.
I mean, you're only a couple years older. It's nothing crazy.
Yeah. Oh, fuck. But yeah, we'll see. I don't know. Acting is something that people work at for a really long time. It's a art study in itself. Like, I think there's plenty of other people that are better for the job. I'll never say no to trying things, but I want to focus on my music and focus on more specific forms of art, I think.
Absolutely.
Like, I'd rather be a master in one thing than a jack of many trades.
Amen. For sure. And you do. Another thing I was going to talk to you about is you do a lot of, or at least you did in the past, a lot of like collabos with a bunch of different artists. Do you have a lot of that going on the new mixtape, or is that something you plan to do like in between your own records, or? Like, I know you worked with like Lil Bo Weep and.
Yeah, Lil Bo Weep. I've done like a track with Ouija Macc.
Yeah, I say we have a pretty big Juggalo following. I was definitely going to ask you about linking up with Ouija for sure.
Yeah, he's a sweetie. Yeah, it was cute. We get both of our both of us get published on a YouTube platform called Trash, and we both trigger the fuck out of people on there. So we thought that was pretty funny to like do something together. Interesting dude, cool vibes,
yeah,
and a fun beat to like do some like rap shit. Whereas I guess my shit's been more lad rap, like Australian lad rap, and also trap metal. So that's cool. Yeah, look, the stuff on my SoundCloud and like past collabs and shit up until a point where I guess I'm working with someone like Ouija was just me playing and just getting better, you know, like you're only as good as your last song. And what I've noticed with my shit is my most recent track that I make is always like my favorite one.
Awesome.
So you just gotta, you know, make and repeat, get better and better.
Yeah, and for anybody, I know, like I said, we have a lot of Juggalo listeners. For anybody wondering, the Ouija Mac on the album Water Damage, the song called Carbon Fiber Coffin, she's featured on, and I love it. It's funny because that's the first time I'd ever heard you, and I assumed you were just a female rapper, and then I went and looked, and I was like, there's all kinds of, I know there's a lot of trap influence, but I mean, there's slow songs, there's like sexy songs, there's singy songs, and there's just crazy scream. Like, you definitely go through a lot of emotions in all the different types of music, and that's always a good thing to see.
Yeah, well, I guess you just wait. March 8th. My God, I have anxiety just thinking about it. It's going to be a heavy drop. I would recommend checking it out.
Absolutely. Yeah, I can't wait. Again,
but I feel it. It's yeah, I speak a lot of heavy shit on it. I talk about some things that I've never addressed before on the line. It's as much a line in the fucking sand as it is a follow-up project, dude.
Awesome. Yeah, I definitely. Oh, you cut out for a sec. You there?
Totally.
Okay. I lost you for a second there.
No, the line sounds good on my end.
All right. But yeah, I totally look forward to hearing it. The line's going to be available March 8th over at I'm sure it'll be on SoundCloud, Spotify,
Apple Music. Yep. It'll be on YouTube. I'm going to make a video visualizer for the whole album on YouTube.
That was
cool.
Now you call it a mixtape. Is it all original music? I mean, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Because a lot of times when you hear the word mixtape, at least in my generation over here, it's a lot of like people would, rappers would put out mixtapes with stolen beats and stuff like that to promote for their actual album that's coming out. But essentially, it's a record. It's an album. It's an album. Yeah.
Yeah. Project. It's a project. I don't know. It's just I like the casualness of the word mixtape, I guess.
Yeah. You don't have to take it as serious.
Cool. Yeah, totally.
That's
I don't know. I've played it for my friends, and they're like, "Dude, this is a fucking album." But the line tape, fuck.
Absolutely. Check that shit out. It's gonna be dope. And a lot of people like get turned off by the word trap. Even like people I know, or they don't. You know what I mean? They're like, because we're used to what we hear on the radio here in the States, but it's like you guys got to hear it. Like there's like we listened. I don't remember. We went on a road trip recently for the show. We host events and stuff, and I made all the guys listen to it. And it's a lot of the stuff on there is very hypnotizing, and like some of it'll just kind of, I don't know, it'll take you over. It'll put you in different moods, and it's a lot of different styles. It's not just trapped in what you would think from the word trap. I just want everybody to know that.
That's so sweet. I'm sure you get from a lot of artists. Like, I've moved on so fucking far from 8, and I'm just so much better at making music now compared to that release last April.
Well, you just put out the Lion Look as well, right?
Don't listen to my music until March 8. That's all I can say. Just fucking ignore that shit. But I can imagine, Freaky P, your favorite track so far would be Little Chicken, I'm sure. I'm not sure. I don't remember the name of it. There's one on there that's just ridiculous. No, it's okay. You can play coy. It's all good. We know.
It's there's one, I can't remember what track. I was gonna look, and there's one track on there that's just like the sexiest song in the world. I don't know what it is, but it's weird.
Ooh, Tap Out.
That might be.
Yeah, it's Tap Out.
And it just puts you in a mood like it's crazy. You guys gonna hear it?
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll let
totally.
the listeners hear it. That's awesome.
You're a sweetheart. Thank you for checking out my music and I guess putting me on to your audience. That's really nice.
Oh,
Big love from Australia.
Hell yeah. Big love from the States, even though most of us are ignorant, but we try to learn about some new shit. But yeah, like you mentioned, you're gonna hopefully we'll see you in the States possibly this year, like touring.
Totally. I've been offered a bunch of fucking shows in New York and also in London and in Australia, but it's just like I've had some shit to focus on, and I just wanted to make another body of work before I move into that new paradigm of live performances. Plus, it takes a lot to get fucking visas to come over and perform, and I want to do that right. I got fucked with modeling once and got locked up in Heathrow Airport for like fucking 24 hours, and that's shit. So I don't want to do that again.
Yeah, fuck that. Well, hopefully this the new one, The Line's gonna blow up for you huge, and they're just gonna pay you millions of dollars to come here anyway, so you just have to. Who knows?
We'll see. We will see.
Well, hopefully we'll see you. We're right in the middle of America, so
you let me know what you think about The Line when you listen to it. Get back in touch.
I will, absolutely. I'm excited to hear it, and hopefully you'll make it to the middle of America. We're right in the middle in Missouri, so from St. Louis.
Nice.
Not a huge market, but we're here. I'm going to ask you one more question before we get rid of you, because we asked all of our guests.
Okay.
Obviously, you have a lot of inspiration from different things, but the one thing we always like to talk about is music. So essentially, if you have 3 records that either inspired you growing up, inspired you as the person and the artist you became today, or just something that touched you, or something, just the 3 albums that you just cannot live without, what 3 records would they be?
Slim Shady LP. We're celebrating 20 years of that right now.
Yeah,
so as a little kid, like, that was 100% it for me. I would have been like, what, fucking 6 years old. And my mom was playing that shit.
That's awesome.
Would too. But yeah, that was like real important for me. Then it would have to be I Brought You the Bullets, You Brought Me Your Love by My Chemical Romance.
Oh my god.
100%. That was a game changer for me. I would have been like 11 or 12 when my sister played me that.
That's awesome. That's like Vampires Don't Ever Hurt You is one of my favorite songs of all time.
Great body of work. I think that was their best for sure. And number 3, what would it be? Look, I'm trying to be eclectic here. I started off like my first, like my number one shit when I was a little girl was Eminem, Slim Shady LP. Then I'm a teenager and I'm full of angst and I'm listening to My Chemical Romance. Number 1. Okay, and now I'm an adult. I'm a grown-ass woman. And the artist that got the most plays on my Spotify for 2018 was Young Thug. Let's all hear it for Young Thug.
There you go. That's the one, huh? Wow.
That's it. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that's all. I didn't expect Eminem that's awesome. Hell yeah. But I can see it. I can see it all now.
There's so many there. It's hard to like do a big cull and just cut it down to 3, but it's eclectic, That's me in a sense. Just here for the culture.
Amen. Nothing wrong with that. That's awesome.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Well, make sure you guys go check her out. The name is spelled Zheani. Is that right? Yeah.
Zheani. Yeah, that's it. That's my
Zheani.
name.
Find her on YouTube, Instagram. Make sure you guys check out symbols.bigcartel.com for the new record that comes out March 8th called The Line.
Yeah, all that. Just keep an ear out for my new record, March 8th. Don't worry about anything else. Well, I'll see you all on the internet, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Awesome. You got any last words, any shout outs, anything you want to say before we end this?
Not a thing.
Perfect.
Thanks for having me, Freaky P.
Awesome. Thank you. Much love.
Yeah, thank you.